Now, underlying competencies means here, okay, what a business analyst, what skills a business analyst should have in order to, okay, do his work, and in order to do business analysis, what skills a business analyst should have. Here it is discussed. Okay, and these skills are categorized into 6 categories. We have 6 categories here. Those 6 categories, if you can see here, one is analytical thinking and problem solving, and then we have the behavioral characteristics, and then we have the business knowledge, and then we have communication skills, and then we have interaction skills, and tools and technology, right? We should be aware of these skills, and you should start practicing them as well. Then only you will get a clarity on the work what you are actually going to do. Okay, so let us try to discuss each one of them. Let us go for this analytical thinking and problem solving. Okay, when you see about this analytical thinking and problem solving, okay, here why we need this. Okay, now I'll tell you, we have to understand the present context. Actually, as a business analyst, we enable change. Hope you are aware of that first initial discussion. So as a business analyst, we enable change, right? As a business analyst, we enable change. Okay, and this change, okay, we will bring in some context. This change will happen within some context. So here we need to understand, let me say, the current state. We have to analyze the future state where we have to go, and we have to come up with a strategy how to start from the current state and reach the future state. Okay, now for all this, what we actually require is the analytical thinking and problem solving skills we require it. Okay, because we need to understand the business situations, the problems and the opportunities, and the value of the proposed changes, impact of the proposed changes. Okay, and the relationship between the relationship between the requirements, needs and the solutions. So we need to understand about it. Okay, and here we need to actually have an understanding about okay, uh, are we giving the right solution or not? Are we giving the right solution or not? So for that, analytical thinking can be used. So this is where we are going to have these skills handy, because as a business analyst, business analysis is kind of analytical thinking. We should have it. We should analyze this. Okay, for that, once again, we have 7 skills here. Let us see what are the 7 skills. Okay, the first one is creative thinking, the second one is decision making, and then we have learning, then problem solving, then systems thinking, then conceptual thinking, then visual thinking. So we have these aspects in analytical thinking and problem solving. So let us try to understand each one of them. Okay, the first one is creative thinking. Creative thinking means we know we need to come up with for a particular problem or a particular opportunity, how we are going to handle this scenario, what are the different ways of handling it. We have to think in a creative way. Okay, it is like we can see, we can think about new ideas and new concepts and innovativeness. If it is there, you have to we say creativity. We need to go to that creativity. That creative thinking is very important to solve the problems. So initially we'll be like sometimes it is like what is existing we need to understand, and what out of which what is extra we can do. If we can change small things, then it may make a huge difference. So we need to understand about the existing and what small changes can make a big difference. What creatively we can induce some innovativeness. Here we have to think in that way. So that comes under the creative thinking. Right? And then we have this decision making. Decision making means here, okay, so because we have to we have to understand the criteria involved in making a decision, and we have to assist others as well to make better decisions. Okay, so it's like we need to understand a few areas where we have to give them the necessary information where they can take a good decisions. Okay. Now if you can refer back to this pathways the case study. Okay. So there is something like decision making where it can come as that I'll give you the scenario. Change request to, you remember change request to, that they were just trying to instead of the timesheet management, what they are saying, we want to release the payment based on the closures. Now whether to accept the change request, yes or no. Okay, whether we can actually take it forward or no, that we have to understand it. Okay, so suppose in case now simply it is not a simple change request, if you can realize that it is a new project by itself, right? If you can accept that, if you say yes, then it will be a project by itself, then the entire dynamics changes. You got me? Because the entire now this tracking of this what we say the time sheets, the efforts kept in, billing, invoices, the entire mechanism changes. So we have to take a decision. It's not a simple thing. Okay, I'll not pay for whatever efforts you say, I'll just pay for the closures. Even though it seems to be a simple sentence, there's a lot of other parameters which you need to consider, because the entire project changes. That becomes a new project altogether. Okay, so in that case, how we are going to take it forward, and like decisions, who is going to take that decision? Because it involves, for decision making, it involves financial factors, time factors, and efficiency, effectiveness, and later on benefits. All these things you have to consider into, you have to consider, then only you can take a decision there. Not only you, your managers or the concerning people can take the decisions on it. Okay, just give me a second. Okay, decision making, actually we consider two parameters mostly. One is the financial parameters and the other one is the feasibility parameters. We'll be looking into it. So we have to look into that, all these parameters, and then we have to either we have to take right decisions, or we have to enable the other person or other resources to take the right decisions, right? And then the learning. Okay, now this learning is very, very important. We have to quickly observe new and different types of information and modify, adopt existing knowledge to the current situations. Okay, now this is very, very important, that every time we come across a situation, a new situation, where we have to learn and understand, we have to learn and understand as a business analyst. This learning is very, very, very important for us, because every time we come across, or we have to get into new things, and for you to understand the new things, you have to learn the underlying concepts, you have to learn the underlying process, and you have to adopt to it, you have to understand it. For that you have to learn it. Learning is the only way a business analyst can actually survive, even though he doesn't know anything about it before. You have to learn it, and then automatically you can get into the things. Okay, so it's like you have to understand that, let me say you don't know anything about a particular project and you are placed in that particular project. Let me see aviation, you got into an aviation project. Now you just can't start complaining, saying that I don't know anything, I'm a fresher, I don't know anything. You can't say it. Instead, you will take you will start understanding what is the project is all about, then learn the underlying process and understand it, and then take it forward. This is how we are going to make it up. Learning is very, very, very important for us. Okay, and once you learn, then whatever you will learn, you can start demonstrating that knowledge. And if you start using that knowledge, even the team members, your stakeholders will be comfortable if your learning curve is good. Okay, because we have to, as I've been saying, initially when you get into a new project, you have to pick up that key words which are used frequently. You have to learn those keywords first. How to adapt yourself quickly to any situation is we have to adapt to new keywords first, and then from there we can take it forward. Fine, got it? Clear on this? Okay, now learning is a must for us. Okay, and then we'll be going to the problem solving. Okay, now coming to the problem solving. Okay, so for us to solve any problem, we need to understand the root cause analysis. We have to do root cause analysis of it. And root cause analysis, we have various ways of doing root cause analysis. Okay, one is you can go with 5 eye technique, or you can go with um, fishbone diagram, or you can go with a tabular method. Like there were multiple techniques which you can use to solve to understand the particular problem. First of all, before you solve a problem, you need to understand the root cause of that particular problem. And once you understand the root cause of that particular problem, everyone should agree to it. Yes, this is it. And from there, if you can come up with solution options, so then you can easily get a permanent solution for it. This is how we actually we solve the problems. Okay, now generally conflicts may happen because of the differences in views between the stakeholders, and generally we have to understand the conflicts that are there between the goals and objectives resolved, and we have to identify them, and then we have to see these are in line with each other, and then we have to progress. Okay, so problem solving, before we if at all if you encounter any problem, the best thing is that first of all, don't consider that is the base of the problem. Is that there is something else which is triggering this problem, that root you have to find out. So you have to find out that root, and once you found out that root, the next step is then you have to make everyone, all the stakeholders involved, you should make the stakeholders understand this is the root of the particular problem, and then we have to start addressing it. Then automatically we can find a solution for it. We can solve that particular problem. Fine, got it? Clear? In this way we are going to take it forward. And the next one is systems thinking. Okay, now systems thinking is that we need to understand for you take any process, in that particular process we need to understand who are involved in it, what technology is there, and what processes are going, or how something can be achieved. You need to first of all understand and get a holistic picture of that particular process, of that particular system. Then based on it we need to actually take things forward. Okay, now let me say, if I give you a simple example, the working of a government sector office is different from working from a private office, right? Now government office generally, even though they have to start at 10 o'clock, people come at 11:30. Nobody bothers there, and people will not give you prompt service. It's like if they wish and will, then they will give you. Otherwise let me say, they expect some benefit to do some service to support you, like that. Their thought process is different. And if the same type of work, if a private office is offering, then that will be different. Okay, I can give you like the best example is a passport office. Now passport office, it is handed over to now TCS, and TCS is taking care of it. Now if you go to a passport office, it's all streamlined. Like you will be given a slot, and in that slot they will before you are given a slot, they'll give you a checklist of all the documents, and you have to carry those documents along with all the originals, and then you go there. It just like that, everything will happen. Okay, in a process it happens, and nobody will expect anything extra money from you. Whatever is defined in that, the same thing will go there. Okay, now let me say, previously when it is there before, like where with the government officials where they are taking care of it, then there is a lot of problem there. There is whether the process is very slow, demand is high, process is very slow, and they couldn't able to make it up. Now here what I'm trying to tell you is we need to understand the same. the same process, if it is handled by it can be handled in multiple ways, multiple modes would be there. You have to understand how it actually happens. So based on it, you can have an idea of the systems. It is a combination of the people, process and technology together. How this particular work can be done, you need to understand it. That is the systems thinking. It is a combination of everything there. Okay. And then we have this conceptual thinking. Okay, conceptual thinking is it's like we need to understand the big picture, the larger picture here when compared to it. Suppose if you're working on a small area, but how this small area impacts the entire big picture, you should have an idea and understanding about it. You should have an idea and understanding about it. Conceptual thinking means completely as a whole, actually how it happens. Okay, so this particular what we say, the small part of information, how it is actually connected to the entire big picture. You should be able to understand the linkage between the this particular small area to the entire big picture, like the linkage which is there between the context, solutions, needs, changes, stakeholders, values, both we have to understand it. Okay, that comes from the conceptual thinking, that comes from the conceptual thinking, right? And after that we have visual thinking. Visual thinking means here visual thinking means it's like we are going to like once any process is given to you, like you draw diagrams, like flow charts you can draw, or you can come up with prototypes of showing this is how we are going to give them whatever idea is there, whatever process is being discussed. If you can give it a visual visually, if you can make it appear, then we call it as visual thinking. Most of the times pictures, models, diagrams, and sometimes it's like the data flow diagrams, activity diagrams, flow charts, then the mock-up screens and pages. All these things will serve the purpose. This comes under visual thinking. So all this is like analytical thinking and problem solving. All this comes under analytical thinking and problem solving. Got it? And now let us look into the behavioral characteristics. Now in behavioral characteristics, okay, so behavioral characteristics means uh, how a business analyst should actually behave. Because it's like, I'll tell you, as a BA, we should gain the trust and respect of the stakeholders. Okay. And when you start practicing business analysis, okay, you should be more effective. And it all depends, basically it all depends on your thought process, how you actually behave. It depends on it. For that, what are the areas we have to look upon is the ethics, the personal accountability, trustworthiness, and then we have the organization and time management, and then we have the adaptability. All these parameters will look into picture. All these okay, competencies we have to look into and understand it. Ethics, okay, ethics, personal accountability, trustworthiness, organization and time management, and adaptability. Okay. Now it is something like I'll tell you, you take any organization, the organization actually works on some ethics. Okay. uh, I can tell you the other way to understand the ethics is the quality policy. The quality policy of a company can be can reflect the ethics of that particular company. Most of the times the quality policy of the company will reflect the ethics of that particular company. Okay. And here ethics means it's like based on what you're trying to do it, and every individual will have their own ethics. Okay. Now I'll tell you, let me say I'll give you a simple example. Okay, especially when you take India may, how the traffic is there. Generally traffic signals will be there and will stop there if it is working. And let me say if the police constable is there, then we'll act in one way. If the police is not there, then we act in a different way. We don't have that integrity in following the ethics. So first of all, if someone is not observing you as well, you should follow it. Someone is observing you as well, you need to either this or that. In both the situations, we should be able to have this ethics in mind. Okay. So here, if you follow the ethics, what actually happens is that your goodwill in the market improves, your goodwill with the team members improves. Okay, and whatever your value will increase, the value of the company will increase, the value of the individual will increase, the value of the process will increase. Because of the ethics, it will actually go ahead in that. Okay, so ethics is something like the governing body for ourselves, within the organization, within the oneself. Okay, that we will be doing this, we will not be doing that. If somebody observes you or doesn't observe you, we do it in the same way. So that comes under the ethics part of it. So first of all, we should follow our own ethics, we should have our own ethics, and we should be following the ethics of the organization as well. Thereby we can improve on the value of oneself, and you can improve on the value of the company as well, right? And the next one is trustworthy, and the next one is personal accountability. Personal accountability means individually. Okay, like if a work is assigned to you, you should take, okay fine, I'm accountable for it, and you should start working towards it. Whatever is required, like let me say you don't know it, you learn it, and you actually do your homework, and then you practice it, and then you start working towards it. Okay, and you feel responsible for it, and you take that responsibility or accountability, and you will like say, okay fine, if I give this job to somebody, to so and so resource, he will take that accountability. Then this guy ensures that he can deliver that particular task or work on time, like they will be doing it great in that way. Okay, so personal, as individually you should ensure that some work is, let me say, we can actually come up with excuses as well. Let me say I told you to gather requirements from the client, and you come up saying that client is not giving me time slots, he's not at all giving me any appointments, how will I gather requirements? Like that you can come up with an excuse as well. Or else you can try out in multiple ways, how this stakeholder is going to, you can try to do your homework on that particular stakeholder, how he's actually what is his timings is all about, where he is like investing his more time. You can start probing into it, understand, and what are his interest areas. Based on it, you can slowly pitch in that so and so area may, you can start requesting to accommodate some time for you. Like that you can pitch in, you can give it your trial to it. Sometimes what actually happens is that we don't give it an attempt. We say that, okay fine, we have just forwarded the mail, they didn't respond, so I can't do anything. So that can be, so you can come up with an excuse not to do it. If you're coming with an excuse not to do it, if you start finding excuses of not doing it, then you are not accountable, you're not personally not accountable. You're coming up with an excuse not to do it. Instead, if you really want to do it, automatically you will be like, if not plan A, you go for plan B, if not plan B, you go for plan C. You try giving some attempts. When you start attempting, definitely there comes a way where you can achieve it. Okay, where you can achieve it. For that, your personal accountability, if you take that responsibility, automatically you can do it. Fine. And the next one is trustworthiness. Okay, now trustworthiness is that it's very, very important as a business analyst to be trustworthy. Okay, because the stakeholders should have confidence, should they have to have confidence on you, that this guy can do it. Then only they can share their requirements with you confidently. Okay, so now it's something like trustworthiness means what. Sometimes if they assign you work, when you're doing it, keep updating them, like okay, this is a status, it is happening. Or if it is not happening, tell them, I'm giving this attempt but it is not happening, this is what is the status is. Keep them looped. Trustworthiness means give your 100% best to it, and keep keep updated the stakeholders about the progress of the work. Then it is a trustworthiness. And give your 100% best. It's not simply don't if you don't give your 100% and simply start updating as well, that will not give any what we say edge. It's only thing, trustworthiness means you give 100% towards working on that particular work, and also you keep updating the progress of the work to the concerning stakeholders. Then you will be trustworthy. Got it? And finally, after that, we have this organization and time management. Okay, this is very, very important for us. Before we do anything, we have to plan our results, we have to organize ourselves first. Okay, so based on the context, we have to plan ourselves, like this is what I'm going to do and so in so time, and this is how, what are my work deliverables and how I'm going to contribute in this particular context. You will be writing, suppose if it is requirements gathering, okay, this is what I'm going to do it. I'll do like 80% of the time I'll be investing in gathering the requirements, 20% I'll be sorting out parallelly, so that any conflicts are there, I can bring it to the notice to the concerning stakeholders, I can make it up. So you have to plan your work, you have to plan your work, you have to organize your work, and you have to utilize your time effectively. Let me say, sometimes we see in companies 8 hours is the standard work hours, but people toil for 12 hours, 13 hours, 15 hours, like that. There's no point there, to be very fair. Actually, if you are effective and efficient in your time management, and you got those skills in you, you got the skills of doing the work in the right way, then 8 hours work is sufficient for any organization. Most of the times it is sufficient, but generally we lack in our skills, we lack in our time management, and there'll be a lot of repetitive works because we lack in the clarity of doing the work. All this comes onto picture. So that's the very reason we should have the time management skills, and also we should organize ourselves before we start working, analyze it and come up with the approach of this is how I'm going to make it up. Based on it, you will take it forward. Fine, got it. That is organization and time management. Okay, and then it comes for adaptability. Then it comes for adaptability. Adaptability means it's like we have to now, let me say, in a given environment we should adapt ourselves, and we should take it forward. Okay, now let me say, number one is if you join a project, if you join a project, you should adapt yourself towards the number one culture of that team, culture of the work, and you should also adapt to the, what we say, the communication styles which they are going to do, and you have to quick learn the keywords of that particular process and give your best to it. Let me say, in one project, okay, they have this they are using a tool, they are using a tool for all the communications and to store the documents, everything they're using one tool. Then immediately what you'll try to do is that instead of sending mails, they update all the information in the tool itself, and everyone has to look into that particular tool for the latest updates, and they do their work. This is how that is. That's a new thing. Previously, let me say, you're updating your stakeholders through phones, and you're updating your stakeholders through emails, like that. Now you want to come to a new project, this new project they're using a tool, then you should change yourself, you should adopt to this particular tool, keep updating as per the new guidelines, what are the new context. You have to update the information in the tool only, and you have to take information from the tool only. What is that concerning thing, what is happening, you have to adapt to it. Fine, you got me. So here adaptability is a must, and don't teach standards to anywhere, to whatever new projects you go there. Please adopt yourself there, and then try to be one among themselves, and then contribute in the process or the project. Fine, got it. So this is what the behavioral characteristics which we have to adopt to. Okay, and the next one is okay, business knowledge, and the next one is business knowledge. Now before we get into that, okay, before we get into the to work on any project, we should know that industry, that organization, and what are the methodologies they follow in it. Okay, so it's like we should know, we should have an awareness on that particular segment. So in that, generic business knowledge is a must. Okay, so you should adopt it, and sometimes we may have specialized knowledge. Okay, on in one of the solutions, like that we can have also the specialized knowledge, but basically we should understand the generic business knowledge of that particular process, organization, industry. We have to be aware of it. Okay, and then if you look into this business knowledge, we have to know about this business acumen, that is the terminology, and the industry knowledge, and then we have the organization knowledge, then we have the solution knowledge, and then the methodology knowledge. So these 5 areas we should have an understanding about it. One is the business acumen. The business acumen means Okay, so let me say uh, the best example I can tell you, okay, about this pathways only. Here, if you can understand, the we are going with timesheets, but actually HR consultancy will not go with timesheet. HR consultancy will go with let me say the placements. Once the placement is done, once the recruitment is done, then they release the payment for that recruitment. Once a closure is done, then they release for it. That is the actual, the that is what it happens. So you should know from that perspective, but here it is happening in a different way. All right, now basically how it happens and how it is happening here, you need to have that understanding about it. Okay, the basic knowledge you should understand, what is the best practice and what is happening here, what are the exceptions concerning this business, you need to understand it here in the business acumen, right? And then we're coming to the industry knowledge. Then coming to the industry knowledge, this industry may, what all, what kind of products are available, what practices they are there, and what sort of activities are going to happen. You should understand about it. What is the impact of the current trends, and the what are the market forces, what are the key processes, services, products, and who are the suppliers, and the regulations who are there in that, who are the regulatory bodies there. All this you should be aware of that particular industry. Let me say if you take healthcare, then HIPAA 7 is a new regulatory norms which everyone have to practice it. Okay, so it's like we should know about what is going to happen, how it is like, what is the industry is going to, all this we should be aware of it. Okay, and then after this okay, we have this organization knowledge. Now the industry knowledge is overview about that particular industry. Now concerning your organization, how it is going to take it forward, what is the architecture of this particular enterprise, and how you are going to take up your work, how you are going to do your business analysis work, your project work, and what are the deliverables organized here, and people, who are the people who take major decisions there, what will be their designations, what will be their roles, how they impact the other people, and how they impact the other processes. So this knowledge you should be having about the present organization. You should have this organization knowledge. Okay, and then we should have the solution knowledge. Solution knowledge means here, okay, you should understand the present departments, environments, technology, and then how we are going to make a change, and what this solution can impact the current state, and how it will make you reach the future state. You should have a clear cut understanding about it, and that understanding we call it as solution knowledge. Okay, so from where it actually starts off, what areas it is going to involve, and how we are going to take it forward, this is what we are going to see here, right? And then we have this methodology knowledge. Methodology means how we are going to make this particular solution, how we are going to make this particular change, and here what is the context we are going to make it, what are the dependencies, opportunities, constraints, and what are the risks are involved. All this you should have an idea about how we are going to make this change from the current state to the future state. This impact we should understand in the, like, what is the approach we are going to do it here. In the methodology knowledge we are trying to understand it. Okay, and then we have this communication skills. In communication skills, if you can realize that communication skills is a heart of the heart of our BA skills, like, and here we'll be like, we should understand that the communication skills is a must uh, for a business analyst, because he's going to communicate with the stakeholders, and he's going to communicate with the team members. So our communication should be very clear, straightforward, unambiguous, and very specific and understandable. So we have to actually go through it. And this communication skills, if you see, we have verbal communications, non-verbal communications, and we have written communications and listening. So let us try to understand each one of them. Okay, verbal communications means it is used to convey like ideas, concepts, facts, opinions to others. And here we'll be using verbal, means we use spoken words generally what happens is that when you have a thought process, we'll start speaking about it. And generally we'll be like okay, so when we speak, because of the tone, we are able to influence the listener. We'll say this is very important and then speak something, then they'll listen to it. And sometimes we may start asking them questions, then they'll be involved in it. Like that, we should actually make our own style of verbal communication. And when you start communicating, number one, you should be very smooth in your approach, very firm on your what we say, your concept and whatever the process you're going to follow, and ensure that it gives a proper and right guidelines for us to take it forward. Okay, got it. And then we have this non-verbal. Okay, non-verbal means it's like uh, okay, so here what we can see is that like how you make your gestures, and how we, while writing the words itself, you will understand like what mood the other person is there, and what they're thinking about it. So non-verbal communications, which cannot be directly expressed, but you can understand it by the tone of making it, and the body language, and the way of writing it, the attitudes, the feelings, all this can be done, we can understand through non-verbal communications. Okay, and written communication, here mostly writing documents, writing mails, all this comes into picture in the written communications. So here we can use text, symbols, pictures, model sketches, and we can actually communicate it. And while we are doing any written communication, you have to use the basic vocabulary of that particular process or project, so that you get connected with the concerning context. That is very, very important for us. Okay, and then we have the listening skills. Now this is very, very important, that when somebody is trying to tell you something, you have to listen it with complete attention. Okay, so here what we will be doing it is that you give 100% attention, and first of all you need to understand the context in which these people are going to communicate with you. And while they are saying, you have to keep that right context, and also actively listen to them. When you start listening to them, automatically this will go ahead. Okay, you will be getting the benefit of proper listening. Okay, got it. So this is very, very important in the communication skills. And then we have this interaction skills. In the interaction skills, okay, we have to like interaction skills means how we are going to interact with the different communities of people, with different categories of people, with the team members, with the stakeholders, and how we are going to communicate our requirements, how you're going to like relate, correlate, and communicate with other people. All this is the interaction skills. Okay, so here for the first one is facilitation. Okay, if you see in the interaction skills, we see this facilitation, leadership and influencing, then we have the teamwork, then we have negotiation and conflict resolution, then we have teaching. So these things we have to in the interaction skills we should showcase this. And coming to the facilitation, okay, coming to the facilitation. Now facilitation means facilitation assist the stakeholders to make a decision, solve a problem, and exchange ideas, and to reach an agreement. That means you should give them that environment in which the stakeholders can actually contribute, think, contribute, and they can even make decisions. Here you should bring in that environment. That is what we call facilitation. Facilitation, sometimes you can facilitate them with the required information, and you can moderate you can moderate the discussion parts of it and information, so that they will you will facilitate them to make the right decisions, or to bring in the right understanding. Facilitation is one of the key what we say skills of a business analyst. We facilitate the stakeholders with the required context information, and what we say and the right information is very, very important here uh, for us to make a facilitation. And then the leadership and influencing, here we need to ensure that to make a to facilitate the stakeholder with the right information, and to bring them everyone to one node, to one understanding, to the same page. Here leadership skills are a must. Then we should we should make them all agree to some approach, common approach, and we should actually encourage the stakeholders support, and collaboration is a must. Stakeholder collaboration must in the business analysis activities. So here you should, when it is required, you should stand straight, and you have to tell them this is what is correct, this is what is wrong, kind of thing you should be able to tell. And you should guide them, even though it is tough, if you follow this particular thing, then you'll get the benefit of it. So you should be like strong enough to and firm enough to communicate some best practices, good ideas, that you can actually do it with leadership skills. We can make it happen. Okay, and then is the teamwork. Now, champions are not recommended in any process, but generally we tend to build champions. But as a business analyst, okay, we should always count on the teamwork, and we should involve all the team members, and we should actually encourage them to contribute in a team, because as a team, the coordinating and collaborating with each other, their teamwork and their team deliverables would be more effective and efficient as a team rather than individuals. So we have to understand, make them understand, like for them to be more effective as a team, what team dynamics they have to follow, and how to understand each other team members, how to identify the uh, strengths and weakness of the team. We have to rely on the strengths of the people, and we have to protect their weaknesses, so that as a team you look very strong, and your team deliverables would be like very efficient, and they will be very effective in the work environment. Fine, got it. So that is about the teamwork. And then we have the negotiations and conflict resolution. Okay, now here definitely when there is a discussion on the deliverables or on the understanding, the expectation set is will definitely different from what the actuals we can make it. So here the negotiations comes into picture, and you can see a lot of conflicts happening here. The conflicts happen because there is a difference between the expectation set and the actuals what we can deliver. There's a mismatch here. So to bridge both of them to the same page, okay, we have to resolve the conflicts, and we have to negotiate, So first of all, for us to do it, we need to understand, identify the underlying interest, why they want it in that particular way. And then we have to make them aware that, okay, this is the case, this we can actually do it, this is how your interest can be like fulfilled, or we can give you the best in this particular area, like that we can make it up. So negotiations and conflict resolutions will happen because of this particular part. Okay, and then we have this teaching. Okay, most of the times, okay, the stakeholders may not be aware of few things. Sometimes your your team can also the team also may not know about a few concepts, few initiatives. The best thing is that make everybody aware of what is going on in the market, what is the expectations, and how we are going to take it forward. That all this we are going to discuss about it. Fine, got it, clear on this. And if you make everyone, if you can teach them about the particular let me say this is the new guidelines, or this is the new project which you are going to work on it, this is the new process which we have to handle it, like that. If first of all, if you can teach them, bring them into consideration and make them aware of it, if you do it in the most appropriate way, then automatically people will be on the same page, they will also contribute in the right way. So this we can actually do it through teaching. Okay, and after this teaching, okay, let us go with the tools and technology. Okay, now as a business analyst, we should be aware of what actually the office is going to make it up, and what business analysis is going to make it up, and what communication tools we have it in this process, and then take it forward. Okay, now tools and technology with the present process is very important. Like we should business analysts use software applications to support communications, collaborations, requirements, artifacts, and model concepts to produce to increase the productivity, such as requirements documentation and management tools, traceability and impact assessment tools, prototyping and simulation tools, modeling and diagramming tools, like, and communication tools enhance the interactions between the stakeholders and team members and are especially important for remote or virtual tools. So we should be aware of the context in which we are going to contribute, in which you are going to actually work on it. Fine, give me a second. Now, basically, you should know, like, we may be using MS Office for that purpose, and we may use Excel for traceability. And for prototyping, we can go with, let me say, Axure or just a man prototyper, or the company has provided you tools, or you are going to go for a freeware tools like that. And diagrammatic like MS Visio we can go with, or Enterprise Architect we can go with. So we need to first of all understand what is available, what is there in the market, what is available with the organization, and thereby we have to use the appropriate tools to take it forward. Fine. And if you look into it, number one, we have to understand about the office productivity tools and technologies. And second, we have to understand about the business analysis tools and technology. And the third one, we should understand about the communication tools and technology. So these three areas we have to look into. And the office productivity tools is that we need to understand in your office what they're actually using. Let me say they may be using an Outlook for email communications. They may be using an Outlook, and office phones are banned. It's like, let me say, personal phones are banned on the bay, and only you have to use desk phones maybe. And likewise, you have to understand in the office what they're exactly using, and what we can actually use there, and what softwares they have, what licenses they have, and what we can use here. Okay, likewise, you have to understand whether they got licenses of the MS Office, they got licenses for this diagramming tools or not. That we have to understand. Suppose if there are no licenses, then we have to bring in, let me say, freeware tools. For bring in freeware tools, who we have to take permissions, so whose permissions we have to take, how we have to take, all this would be, we have to have an awareness of it, right? And then we have this business analysis tools and technologies. As a business analyst, what tools we are going to use? And for documentation, MS Office we'll be using. If it is there, yes. If it is not there, then Open Office we can bring in. For us to bring in the Open Office, we have to take our managers permission, and we should make them aware that we're using so and so kind of thing. And we should also make our network engineer or our admin aware that we are using so and so tool, because they will only actually download it and give it to you. Like that, we should follow that particular process. And like diagram drawing tools, which tools we are going to make it up, and prototyping tools, what tools we are going to make it up. So likewise, for business analysis, for tracking, are you going to use RTM, an Excel sheet, or you're going to go with a tool like a Productive or Redmine, like that you're going to track them out. So we should be aware of what tools are available, business analysis tools are available with the company, so that we can use it, or what tools they ask us to take it forward. We have to be aware of it. Okay. And then we have this communication tools here. Okay, how we are going to, sometimes we can go through emails, we can chat, or sometimes we may go with this through emails, we can send emails interactions can happen, or through chat we can have a chat process. Through internal chats we can also communicate. Present day they are creating groups, maybe WhatsApp groups, or maybe some Facebook groups, or something like they may go with internally some groups where we can communicate. So how we are going to collaborate, how you can conduct team meetings, how you can go to meeting, or let me say WebEx meetings, or third party tools we are using, or Google meetings we are using it. Likewise, we have to understand it, and then take things forward. We have to plan it as per these competencies. We have to understand it. These are skills which we have to understand. Fine, got it. So here, if you see in the underlying competencies, okay, in the underlying competencies we have 6 categories. The first one is analytical thinking and problem solving. The second one is behavioral characteristics, and the third one is business knowledge, and the fourth one is communication skills, and the fifth one is interaction skills, and the sixth one is tools and technology, right? And in analytical thinking and problem solving, we have creative thinking, decision making, learning, problem solving, systems thinking, conceptual thinking, and visual thinking. And behavioral characteristics, we have ethics, personal accountability, trustworthiness, organization, and time management, and adaptability, we have it. And in business knowledge, you should know the business acumen, industry knowledge, organization knowledge, solution knowledge, and methodology knowledge. And then we have this communication skills like verbal communications, non-verbal communications, written communications, listening. And coming to the interaction skills, we should know about the facilitation, leadership and influencing, teamwork, and negotiations and conflict resolution, and teaching. And coming to the tools and technology, we should know about the office productive tools, like what they are using it, and business analysis tools, we should be aware of it, and communication tools, we should be aware of it. So these things we should be like doing our homework on. Before we could start, we should see all these areas, and we have to come up with how we are going to contribute and what we are going to use here. Okay, so this is all about the like underlying competencies. Fine, got it, clear on this? And any questions from your end, you can ask me. Any questions?